resume. It's the same as usual. If you're seated, trying to find a position that allows you to sit a little bit straighter, so you're not coming forward and compressing the abdomen, creating problem for the diaphragm as it can't expand and relax it properly. To see if I can give myself a little bit more space. If you're lying down, allowing the head to relax onto the mat, just supporting it with something if you needed to. The shoulders are relaxed, the hips are relaxed. Keeping the legs bent or straightening up the legs, whichever way around works the best for you. And then start focusing on the breath. Notice where the breath is at the moment. If I feel that it's at the top of the chest, so every time that I breathe, I can feel that lift into the chest, that tension through the collarbones and into the neck. See if I can encourage everything to soften at the top. And then allow the breath to drop down into the belly. So feeling the belly expanding with the inhalation and relaxing with the exhalation. So same as usual, I'm not trying to push the belly out. I'm just allowing the breath to push it out on the inhale and then relax on the exhale. As you feel that the breath is a little bit more relaxed, the body feels a little bit more settled into position, then I'm going to start focusing on the neck. I'm going to start turning the head gently from one over to the other side, one to the other side. Noticing the range of movement, noticing any clicking, any catching, any restriction going one way or turning the other. And then without forcing the movement, see if you can start turning just a little bit more. So I'm going to turn as far as it's comfortable, and then I'm going to try and push just a little bit more and then come back. So I'm going to turn as far as it's comfortable and just a little bit more and then coming back. So just encouraging that little extra towards the end range, but making sure that that little extra is not causing pain. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Bringing the head back to the middle, from side to side. I'm going to go front to back, up and down. So getting into a little skull rock. So I'm going to push the chin into the back of the throat, as I was trying to give myself a big double chin. And then lifting the chin up and away, I'm going to try and stretch the front of the neck. Then easing again, I'm going to push the chin into the throat and then lifting away, see if I can open up to the front of the throat and the front of the neck. So keeping that rocking going, especially if my head is on the floor, making sure that it stays on the floor. I can feel the head rocking forward and back. And then the small points, the same as usual. So if I'm trying to push the tongue into the roof of the mouth, as I lift up, it gives me a little bit more of a stretch, a little bit more of a traction down the front of the neck. So see if I can find a nice pull coming down the front of the neck as I lift the chin, making sure that that's not causing pain at the back of the neck or any referred pain down the arms or tingling into the fingertips, so I'm not compressing the cervical spine. And then as I press the chin into the back of the throat, to see if you can imagine to create space from the base of the skull all the way down the back of the neck. So I'm going to try and release some of the tension, some of the stiffness that is squashing all the vertebrae together, that is creating that massive tension and pressure into the side, into the back of the neck. 2. Last one. And releasing back, returning the head back to the middle. It's a little bit more movement to front to back or up or down. I'm going to try and see if I can mix the direction together. So imagine that pencil struck to the tip of the nose. I'm just going to start drawing circles on the wall, on the ceiling in front of me. And then progressively see if I can make those circles bigger. But making sure that it's never going so big that, again, I can feel it catching, it's creating pain, it's creating pinching, it feels painful for the neck. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reversing the circle, going the other way. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, returning the head back to the middle. Just a little bit more movement into the cervical spine. I'm going to drop down towards the thoracic, towards the middle. So keeping the arms in front of you, hands together or hands apart. I'm just going to start to swing my way around, rotating to the right and then over to the left. See if I can create a nice, easy twist from side to side. If you're lying down, you're slightly restricted into range of movement because the floor is going to prevent you from turning a bit too far. So if you're lying down, see if I can really focus on my hips staying still. It's just my shoulders turning and then turning the other way. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release it back. I'm returning the body back to the middle. And then same as I did for the neck, I'm going to get into a little flexion extension. So I'm going to push the chest forward as if I was trying to stick the chest out. I'm going to push it forward, see if I can create a nice arch into the upper back. And then I'm going to push the ribcage down hard into the ground to see if I can try and round the other way. So I'm going to push it forward, trying to arch my ribcage away from the mat. And then I'm going to push it into the mat. So see if I can think of the movement coming from the mid-thoracic. So I'm going to try and extend and lift, and then I'm going to round and drop. Extend and lift, and then round and drop. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, it's a little bit more movement into the back, the same as I did for the neck. I'm going to try and mix the 2 directions together, the 4 directions together. So I'm going to reach the arms to the front and then imagine to be holding a chalk or a pen, whatever. I'm going to start drawing the biggest circle possible on the wall in front of me or the ceiling in front of me. So I'm going to go into a nice rotation, up into extension, rotating the other way, flexion, and then I'm going to draw another big circle around. Come back, and then another big circle around. So see if I can try and feel the back, and not just the turning side to side, but also lifting and lowering down. So as I draw up into the circle, I can feel the extension. As I draw down into the circle, I can feel the flexion. So as much movement as possible, trying to vary it as much as I can as I go around. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to reverse the circle. So I'm going to draw my circle the other way. So up one way, round, and down the other. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the upper back. It's a little bit more movement. Up at the top, I'm going to try and focus a little bit more down at the bottom. So see if I can try and create movement into the back, but this time we're trying to move down, further down into the hips. So I'm going to start off with a little pelvic tilt. So I'm just going to tilt the pelvis back. I'm going to try and roll back onto my tailbone, and then I'm going to lift my way right up onto the seat bones. So I'm going to tilt and come back. Tilt and come back. Similar movement to the one that you did before when you were trying to push the chest forward. But this time I'm not focusing on the upper back, I'm focusing more on the lower back. So I want a little movement coming from the bottom of the spine. If you're lying down, it feels easier as you've got the floor to guide you. I want my lower back to go flat against the floor and then to lift the waist slightly. And then to go flat again and then lift the waist slightly. So think of the gentle tension at the front of the belly that is encouraging that little rocking, that little movement. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, resetting the neutral, same as before. And then this time, instead of working in rotation, I'm going to work into a little lateral flexion. So I'm going to go into a little hip hitch. So think of your right hip lifting up to touch the side of the rib cage. So I'm going to try and hitch up the right side and then drop it back. Hitch up the left side and drop it back. So if I'm lying, if I'm sitting up, I'm trying to lift my right seat bone and then drop it back, and then trying to lift my left seat bone and then drop it back. So feeling the side of the belly tensing to create that little pull, that little lift, and then the back moving gently at the bottom. If I'm lying down, I'm going to try the same from this position. What I want is for the pelvis to stay flat against the floor, the right hip to pull up towards the rib cage, the left to pull to the left, the right pulls to the right, the left pulls to the left. So feeling the pelvis, feeling the back of the hips, rocking gently from side to side, moving up and down. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Resetting the hips back into the middle. That's a little bit more. Release it down into the hips. I'm going to go back to the top. But this time I'm going to focus on the shoulder joint a little bit more. So bending the elbows, I'm going to tuck the elbows into the side of the waist, into the side of the body. Turning the palms to face towards the head as if you are holding a book. And then I'm going to start externally rotating the arms. So I'm going to turn the forearms out, but at the same time I want my elbows to stay close to the side, and then I'm just going to ease the arms back. So setting up into your little down weight. So see if I can create that rotation in and out into the shoulder joint. The movement might be feeling loose, might be feeling really stiff. One side might be able to move more than the other. It doesn't really matter. Just to see if you can picture the head of the humerus, so the top of the arm turning into the shoulder socket. So the forearm is just the guiding that turning, but the movement is actually coming from the very top of the arm. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders. Just a little bit more movement into the shoulder joint. I want to work it through the elbow and the shoulder. So I'm going to start in the same position. So I'm going to tuck the arms by the side. This time I'm going to turn the palms to face each other. And then reaching the fingertips forward. So if I'm lying down, I'll be reaching up to the ceiling. If I'm sitting up, I'll be reaching to the front of the room. And then I'm just going to draw the elbows in and back. Then I'm going to reach forward and then in and back. Forward, in and back. So see if you can think of the shoulder and the elbow working together. So you can think of the elbow brushing by the side of the waist as they're staying close to the body as I pull them back, and then reaching forward again. Back, and then reaching forward again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the arms. And then this time I'm going to try and focus on the wrist joint. So what I want is to try and mobilize the wrist. So I'm going to bring the palm of the hands together. I'm going to interlock the fingers. And then keeping the fingers locked together, I'm just going to start rolling the wrist around. So imagine a ball between your hands. You're just trying to roll that ball around. So see if I can try and loosen up any tension, any stiffness from the wrist. Noticing any restriction, going one way, rolling the ball the other way. So as much movement through the joint as possible. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Then I'm going to try and see if I can work the wrist and the elbow together. So I'm going to interlock the fingers same as before. This time I'm going to keep the fingers interlocked. I'm going to open up the palms and then I'm going to turn the palms to face away from me. And from there, I'm going to push the palms forward, as far forward as the wrist and the elbow will allow me to go. Then I'm going to ease back and then again, turning the palms away, and then pushing away as far as the wrist and the elbow will allow you to go, and then coming back again. So maintaining that movement going. Each time, think of squeezing the elbows a little bit closer together. So see if I can really get the back of the arm to actively work, so the tricep to work, and then the forearm on the front of the wrist to stretch a little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back. I'm just going to roll the wrist gently, same as before, making sure that there is no tension left into it. Going a little bit more the other way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the wrist, releasing the hands. I'm going to try and work down into the legs at this time. Just trying to work through the hip joint. So I want to try and warm up and mobilize the hip joint. I'm going to start with a little opening and closing. So both legs together. I'm going to bend the knees, walk the feet nice and close. I'm going to let the knees open out and away from each other. And then I'm going to squeeze them back in again. I'm going to let them open, and then I'm going to squeeze them back. I'm going to try and exaggerate the movement just to see if I can try and push them as far apart as possible, and then squeeze them back together again. Just making sure that as I'm trying to open them out, there is no pinching, there is no catching into the side of the hip. If I feel that the movement is very small, so I feel restricted or the legs are not responding very well, I'm going to use the arms to help me. So I'm going to open up as far as I can. I'm going to use the arms to see if I can go a little bit more, and then I'm going to squeeze back in. I might need my hands to squeeze the legs back in again. I'm going to use them as much as I need. So I'm going to try and go as wide as I can, and then I'm going to try and push back together. As wide as I can, and then pushing back together. 2 more times. As wide as I can, and then squeezing back together. Last time. As wide as I can, and then all the way back together. Relaxing the hip, there's a little bit more movement in and out. What I want is a little movement up and down. I'm going to repeat on the same leg, so if you need to use the strap to help you support that leg, you can put the strap around the right leg, or use our hands around the back of the leg to encourage movement. And then same as I did for the opening and closing, what I want this time is a little lifting and lowering. So I wanted the hip joints to flex and then to release back. I wanted to close and then to open again. Close and open again. However small the movement is, it doesn't matter. But see if I can try and encourage a little up and down this time. So if you're lying down, using the strap around the back of the leg, or if I feel that I've got enough control of the leg, I'm just going to use the strength of the hip and the strength of the belly to move. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to switch the band around with the left leg if I need a bit of support of the band, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the left side. So exactly the same. If I can encourage just a little movement into that left hip. So I want the hip to close and then open back up. To close and then open back up. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing down, relaxing the hip, releasing the legs. Again, I've got a little bit more movement up and down. What I want is, again, is to mix the direction. So I'm going to try and see if I can mix them up. It's a circle around. So if you're lying down, bring the right leg up, we're using the strap to hold it in place. So just, if I've got the strength, I'm just going to hold the leg there. If I'm seated up, I'm just going to keep the leg pointing straight forward, and then imagine a pencil strap to your kneecap, to the front of the knee. I'm going to start to drawing little circles in front of me. So I'm going to let the leg go in, out, up, down. So see if I can explore my range, using the hands to help me carry the leg within that range. Progressively see if I can maybe make the movement a little bit bigger. The same as you did before. Without forcing, just to see if I can lubricate the hip, so see if I can really get the hip going, ease off some of the tension from the hip. 5, 4, 3, 2, reversing the circle, going the other way. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and Releasing back, releasing the leg, relaxing the hip. I'm going to try the same thing with the left side. So switching the strap around to the left leg if you need the strap, holding on to the leg if you rather hold. And then same as on the other side, I'm just going to start exploring the range of movement on this leg, on this side. Starting with a little movement, and then progressively, if possible, if the hip allows me to, I might be going bigger. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Reversing the circle, going the other way for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the hips, releasing the legs. I've got a little bit more movement through my hip joint. I'm going to try and see if I can start coordinating the upper body and the legs together. So I'm going to set the feet a comfortable distance, the legs in a comfortable position. We're just making sure that if you're lying down, they're both bent. And then I'm going to focus on my right arm and my right leg together. So imagine a strap linking your right hand to your right leg. I'm going to raise the right arm up. I want the right leg to move. Then I'm going to ease back. Then with the left hand, I'm going to pull at the imaginary string. I want my left leg to move and then come down. It doesn't matter how much, just to see if I can get the two to move together. So I want my right arm to do something and my right leg to do something. My left arm and my left leg to do something together. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, relaxing the hips, so releasing the legs and the shoulders. I'm going to try again. This time I'm going to try my right arm and my left leg. So I'm going to work across. So same as before, it doesn't matter what the movement is, if it's a side movement or it's an up or down, left or right. But see if I can try and get my right arm and my left leg to do something together. So I'm going to try and move the opposite, come back, move the opposite the other way, and then come back. Move the opposite one way, come back, and then move the opposites the other way, and then come back. And then as you keep that cross movement going from right to left to right, see if you can notice any difference in the movement compared to what you did before. So when I was moving my right arm and my right leg together, did it feel easy? Was it easier? Was it better? Or was it actually harder than moving across? So see if I can encourage the movement, encourage both sides, especially if one side feels a bit weaker than the other. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, raising the hips, releasing the shoulders, just a little bit more connection. Top to bottom, I'm going to try and see if I can get a little bit more connection into the legs, or a little bit more movement into the legs. If you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto your side. If you're sitting up, we're trying to bring the knees nice and close together. If you've got a band, you could use the band around the legs. So I could tie the band loose around the legs, just to give me a little feedback. If I don't have a band, I'm just going to put my hands on the side of the leg, side of the thigh, to give a little pressure in. And then from there, I'm just going to start opening up the right leg. So I'm going to push out with the right leg, and then I'm going to ease back. I'm going to open the right, and then close back. So repeating on the same side. If you're lying down, staying on the leg that is on top, or see if you can get the little clamshell movement going. Feeling the side of the leg, the side of the hip working together to create that tension, to create that gentle squeeze, and then coming back. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. And then I'm going to try the same thing, but working on the other side. So if you're on your side, rolling over to face the other way, setting yourself into the same position, the arms supporting the head, or a little pillow underneath the head to give a little support. And then focusing on the top leg, same as I did before. If I'm seated on the chair, I'm going to focus on the left leg. I'm going to push it out and then ease it back in again. Push it out and then ease it back in again. So see if I can find that connection between that left hip, that side of the hip, the side of the bum, and the side of the leg. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. And then I'm going to change the effort. If you're lying on your side, get rid of the strap if you're using the strap around the legs. I'm going to extend the bottom leg along the floor. So I'm going to stretch it out and along. And then I'm going to let the top leg drop down to the floor in front of me. Putting a little block underneath the knee if I feel that that drop is a little bit too heavy on the hip or on the back. And then from here, what I want is to work on the leg that is on the floor. What I want is for the inside of the leg to pull up and lift the leg off the ground and then ease it back in again. So I'm going to try and pull it up and then ease it back down again. If you're sitting up, I want the same, but from that seated position. So I could use a towel between the knees, or I can use my hands between the knees. I'm going to try and focus on my right inner thigh. I'm going to squeeze in with the right inner thigh and then ease the pressure again. I'm going to squeeze it in and then ease it out again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. and releasing back, releasing the hip, releasing the leg. If you're lying down, switching yourself around, rolling over onto the other side, setting the same position to the other side. So the bottom leg is extended away. The top leg, I'm just going to bend it and then slip it forward, dropping it down onto the floor. We're using something to support to the knee. And then pulling the bottom leg up and away from the ground, see if I can find a strong connection through the inner thigh. If I'm sitting up, I'm going to focus on my left leg. I'm just going to squeeze in with the left leg and then ease the pressure and go out again. Squeeze in and then ease the pressure and go out again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, releasing the legs, releasing the hips, giving the leg a little tap. When you're ready, rolling over onto your back again. If you're lying down. So the hips a little bit more connected, inside and outside, front and back, working together. What I want is to try and create a little bit more activation into the belly. So if I'm sitting up, I don't need to support the head, as the head is on top of the shoulder. If I'm lying down, I might put my one hand to the back of the head to support the head so that I can carry the head with me, while the other arm reaches down the side. And then from there, I'm going to start going into a little lateral flexion. So with the left hand, I'm going to reach down the left side of the body as if I was trying to pick up something from the floor, coming back to the middle. With my right hand, I'm going to reach down the right as if I was trying to pick up something from the left. So focusing the tension onto the side of the belly again. This time, instead of trying to pull the sequin off the chair, instead of trying to bring the hip towards the rib cage, I'm going to try and take the rib cage towards the hip. Coming back, taking the rib cage towards the hip the other way. If you're sitting up, imagine a wall behind you. So you can think of your head and your shoulders as staying on the wall as you're moving from side to side. So see if I can keep the movement a lateral flexion, making sure that it doesn't become a forward flexion, so I'm not leaning forward. If I'm lying down, it's a little bit easier as I've got the floor underneath to guide me, tell me where I am, so I can just work my way from one side to the other. Both shoulders are down on the ground, the head is slightly lifted so I can take it with me. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, easing the head back to the mat. If the head was lifted, allowing the side, the front of the belly to have a little rest. And then I'm going to change the effort one more time. So I've got a nice big connection into the side of the belly. This time what I want is a little bit more connection into the front of the belly. So if you're lying down, I'm going to put both hands behind the head to support the head. And then this time, tilting the chin to the chest, lengthening the back of the neck. I'm going to curl the head, curl the shoulders off the ground. See if I can reach the point where I can feel the strong tension in the front of the belly. And then I'm just going to ease my way back down again. If I'm seated up, again, I don't need the head to be supported. I'm just going to round through the shoulders. And then I'm going to curl my way down as far as I feel a little tension at the front of the belly, and then I'm going to try and expand and straighten myself back out again. So I'm going to try and round and come forward, and then expand and lift up again. 5, 4, if the head starts becoming too heavy, popping the head down, giving the neck a gentle roll, making sure that the neck doesn't feel stiff. 2, last one, and easing back. And keeping the hands, if you're lying down, keep the hands behind the head, so locking the fingers behind the head. If you're sitting up, see if you can do the same, locking the fingers behind the head. And then see if you can do a little bit of reverse work. I'm going to try and spread my elbows as wide as possible. I'm going to push them into the back wall. And then I'm going to ease them forward again. And then push them back into the back wall. And then ease them forward again. And then push them back and then ease them forward. So imagine the arms to be like little wings. I'm trying to flap my wings. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the shoulders, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, giving the head a gentle roll, making sure that the neck doesn't feel stiff, it doesn't feel tight. Then when you're ready, rolling over onto one side, and in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position. See if you can find the seat bones. I'm trying to sit right on top of the seat bones, using the hands behind or by the side to offer a little support if I feel that I'm rolling backwards and falling backwards. And then once you feel that the back is set, the body set, then see if I can think of that nice opening and closing. So pushing the chest forward, I'm going to extend it through the upper back. I'm going to look forward, I'm going to look up, I'm going to look back to see if I can try and really open up that front line of the body. Then I'm going to release, letting the chin drop down, the shoulders come forward. I'm going to allow myself to drop forward, drop down. See if I can open up the back line in the middle of the body. And I'm curling back up again. I'm going to push the chest forward. I'm going to extend and lift my way up. And then release, coming forward. See if I can try and open up at the back. Last time. I'm curling all the way back up. Extending your way through. Looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing and coming forward. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow. Give yourself a clap on that. Any question or anything as usual, please say. Remember, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you very much.